But yeah, this feeds into this. Salute to the Joe Budden podcast. Again, I think I talked about it on another. Oh yeah, it was related to the conversation that equally got out of hand that spiraled when we were talking about the whatchamacallit, different negative traits, inherent traits for the respective sexes. But salute to Mark Lamont Hill. He's been on the podcast and he's been providing very good insight and contributions. But this one is definitely what people might describe as controversial, though. So, the little caption is Joe Budden podcast debate Mark Lamont Hill about legendary Quincy Jones leaving behind a $500 million fortune to his 7 children, each receiving $71 million. After he says he would give 10 to 20 million to his kids and leave the rest of the community that needs it. Let's hear what they have to say. Obviously, let's be mindful of Quincy siphoning off the Joe Budden podcast and pretending to gain copyrighted. So we'll pause where we need to be. I think they get to the debate early on, though.
Quincy Jones. No, the reason I said that is because Quincy Jones, according to reports, left all of his money to his children. Apparently, each of his children got somewhere between $70 and $80 million.
I thought it was 80 plus, like 83.
I've heard 2 different reports, so I want to be, but I suspect is what you just said. It is 83, but I've heard 2 different reports. But the point is, you have over $500 million, and you give it all to your children. Is that the right choice? I don't think it is.
Yes.
I would never do that shit.
Okay, well, how would you divvy
I
it
don't
up?
understand y'all.
Give it to battered women, right?
I don't get you.
What? Some calls, nigga.
Feed the whale.
Would that be bad?
So, like the captain says, we obviously gave a rest in power to Quincy Jones, a whole legend, and I don't think that number for the fortune is unfathomable. Again, being as legendary producer as he is, and receiving all the royalties he received out the year, receiving all the checks that he received from all the big records that they were instrumental in producing. It makes 1,000% sense that they have amassed a large fortune, and they always say you can't take it with you. So reportedly, Quincy Jones left it to his children, which is like ultimate goal. You create something, you build up enough resources so that if and when you leave, your family has something to lean on, and that's just what he did, reportedly. But Mark Lamont Hill brought in the interesting counterpoint to the, and he's going to get into it, but realistically speaking, and that's even a conversation that I think we've had on here, or we could have, but what's a life-changing amount of money? I think a lot of people would say like 10 plus million. You probably don't need to work another day in your life. Now, maybe with the inflation like Ghost is talking about, maybe it's a little higher, but definitely once we start getting to the literally 70 plus million, that's just like emotionally like unfathomable amount of money. So he, on the other hand, would probably do something else with it. Let's hear what they have to say.
No, it's not bad. I'm just saying.
Yo, the Alaskan rabbits are extinct.
Alaskan rabbits, battered women.
Oh, shit.
Feed the whales, battered women.
No, dead ass. That's how y'all view women?
Get them with his mouth.
Like polar bears.
I don't know what you're talking about.
There's something about rabbits and fucking whales.
Yeah, we were cracking on Mark
Come on.
saying he's leaving his money to other charitable things.
If I got
How do the women get?
If I got half, because he brought it to women, he said battered women.
Damn, why you pointing at me, Rack?
Because you,
I got out of that quick.
I know.
Yeah,
you passed that case quick. Look, no, this is what I'm saying. If I got $500 million and I had 8 kids, I would leave them something. I would do more than Warren Buffett approach. I'm gonna give y'all something.
But what is the something? How much of the pie?
10 million
Wait, excuse me?
Pause it.
a piece. Yeah.
And what would you do with the rest?
I would give it to people who need it. I would invest it in society. I would repair things. I would create programs. I would do shit to lead the world better. Nobody needs $500 million.
Okay, so it's getting into well, he's still, obviously, who doesn't believe in leaving something to your children? His mindset would be, if I had that much money, at a certain point, he'd feel responsible to, give back to the community, help repair, rebuild, do all these certain things. And we'll let them keep going into it. But again, y'all are kind of separate just a little here and there.
Dollars.
Stop. The problem with that is
That's peace.
Yeah, this nigga's the man.
no.
No, this nigga's not.
I love him,
This nigga
yo.
hell,
On my mom, I would.
This is like college for me, hiring him.
The
I
problem
learned
with
so
that
much,
is
yo.
when you leave it to somebody else, ain't no guarantee on how they gonna utilize
Exactly, how
that
they
bread.
gonna-
Like, I remember when Zuckerberg gave Newark $100 million. Gave the educational system in Newark $100 million. I ain't gonna shit on my town, but
It went other places.
yeah, you get what I'm saying? So when you start leaving that bread to somebody, ain't no guarantees on how they're going to utilize that bread or if it's going to do what you wanted it to do. If you raised your kids accordingly, I think that your
what I was gonna
kids
say.
will be charitable and your kids will do things that would benefit society.
What if you had a lot of faith in your kids and you're parenting and you're like, I got good kids. I'm gonna
Yeah, you and
figure out something better to do
still
with this.
responsibility.
Man, I don't care if my kids took it and put it on black. I ain't here no more. Y'all are my.
See, man, salute to Joe Budden podcast. They know how to have a conversation. Funny, but still giving different perspectives. Yeah, I mean, the clip is like 5+ minutes, 6 minutes, so you can watch it on your own. But that's the main gist of the topic of discussion here. And to be honest, I don't know how many people. I think it's definitely a more minority approach to it. But I mean, I guess to get right into it, so we're not just here all night. What do y'all think of this? I mean, we're just talking about children leaning on their parents for support. If you, and it doesn't have to be an instrument like the immeasurable amount of money, like 500 million, but could you imagine a world in which you when you're at the end of your life? I guess we'll look at it from both perspectives. We'll start from a parent's perspective. If you're at the end of your life and you amass, a good chunk of change, are you giving it all the way to your kids, or no, we got to give back? What comes to your mind, Ace?
Me particularly, I think I actually would end up giving back,
Okay.
as opposed to just dumping it all to the kids. But I don't necessarily have an inherent problem with somebody who would just decide to give it all to their kids either.
And I guess actually there's not really much of a need to look on both sides, because I guess on the flip side, we're not putting negative energy in the universe, but say our parents racked up X amount of dollars, once it's their time to pass it on, if they said, "Well, I'm not going to give you all of it," you probably wouldn't be pressed.
I would pretty much expect that.
Okay. I don't think there's any. I mean, they were mad. If you go on to listen to the clip, they're mad. Some of them are making the counterpoint. I guess just to play Joe Budden's podcast advocate. I mean, what do you say to that? That I guess they're actually gonna hear the counterpoint of like, what's wrong with sharing it? But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's your money, it's your resources, it's your legacy, it's everything you built, and we generally do build stuff to give to our our offspring. That's just like how the way like species work in general. So I mean, I guess again, sticking with the order which we kind of went in it, like you wouldn't be in the mindset of, hey, my kids might be a little pissed off that I'm not leaving everything to them.
I'm gonna be dead. Who cares?
I like that. Dead man can give no orders. Okay, then I guess sticking with the one that would actually impact you. You already said it, but what if they say, "Hey, I'm giving the majority away, and you're getting extra"? Your parents.
I mean, this is kind of a situational thing, but I'm good. Like, that's fine. It's just, but that's probably because of where I am at in life right now. I would have to put myself in the shoes of somebody who really needs it, and then.
I mean, you don't think that your parents, to a certain extent, what your parents worked hard to obtain, once they no longer really have need for it, belongs to you? It's not all that inheritance jazz.
No, not really. No.
That's interesting.
No, it's
So
just
you-
where
so
they
you-
decide to
so
put it.
you're-
Because like, let's say they during their life they chose to invest their significant portion of their money in charitable causes or whatever, and then at the end they only have a little bit and they decide to give it all to me, all to the children, versus at the end of their life they amass a ton of money, they never gave to any charities, but now they decide to give a bunch to the charities and um little to none to me. It's like if they did it during life, you almost certainly wouldn't say anything negative about the person. But because they're about to pass, like no,
Oh,
it
I
just
see what you're
switches. Well,
saying.
you deserve
Okay.
it. Like that doesn't really act to me.
I guess that's actually relatively pragmatic. Although you do seem chill in general about the inheritance and stuff. I think most people would be pissed if they didn't get what they believe they should get when an inheritance. But and I mean you said it, but or you said it, didn't really allude to it. But I mean you're still big on like I mean even now before you have like a whole family or kids or whatever the case may be, you still want to leave like something behind for your children though.
Yeah. Certainly. I
And
just
you
it's
and
not.
you
I
would
don't think it
do
would all be to the children.
fair enough. Fair enough. But you would do everything in your parts to make sure they're like, and even like when we have young kids and we're like in our middle ages and we're working, we have like parents have the mindset of like, I got to make sure that worst case worst when it happens like they're good and whatever the case may be. So it's almost like you
Yeah.
would probably have a higher. You'd want to make sure your kids are straight to like a high degree, but it seems like as far as you're chilling whether you get the most as far as inheritance.
Yeah, to a certain degree. I mean, this it's I don't know I don't know what my mindset will be, Lord willing, to, at this point in life, or at that point in life I should say. But like trying to think about how much money would my children need to be set versus just thinking about things in terms of percentages. Like I don't know if I would go how far into that thought process I would go. Like, okay, I have this amount of money, and if I give them this amount, then they'll be set for X amount of years after I die. Like, I don't know if I would be thinking that deeply about it. I think I would probably just think in terms of percentages. Like, I got this much, 70% goes to my children, and then
Yeah,
another the 30% goes to charitable causes.
I got you. No, that makes absolute positive sense. Sorry for the grilling, but I appreciate delving into that. Ghost, what about yourself? What do you think when you hear this type of story? You think it makes I guess just more so approaching it from the both sides. Could you imagine a world in which your parents amassed some and they didn't leave you behind? If you'd be chilling about that, or would you be a little bit pressed?
I don't know. When I see stories like this, I think like you're talking about the clip specifically. Like I'm talking about how it's crazy that they're giving all 70 million to the children and he should have given 10 to 20. That's
Oh, 500.
really just so stupid to me and absolute clown a clownish take. Like for one, I'm talking about giving a charity, giving a I've I don't want to say I'm skeptical, but I've always found it kind of stupid. Uh just for one, you had all this time in your life to give the charitable organizations. You didn't. You give it to these charitable
Well, no,
organizations.
no, we're kind of getting a little crazy. No one said no one didn't, but fair enough. Just for example,
All how many of people in the black community have talked about where our money is going as far as like putting it into government? Not even black community. Everyone in general talking about putting money into the government and the government's doing what with it? Where our tax money going? Blah blah blah. Even these charitable organizations where it turns out that we donated 50 million but the exec pocketed 40 million of it, and the only 10 got dispersed. Why are we suddenly trusting the reliability and the integrity of these corporations when we've never done it in the past? And now suddenly we gotta give all this back and do this, do that, and we have this deep trust. And if you're giving it all to your children, then you're doing something wrong. That's stupid. Give the money to your kids and let them donate to the charitable organizations. If you raise them, they would probably know what you have in mind to donate to. Let them do it. I really am kind of tired of why are we donating to these random charities, these random people. If you're giving it to people directly, that's one thing. If it's a charitable organization, you're deeply entrenched and you know exactly what's happening, that's one thing. But just we'll just give it to this random feed the homeless. Like, what the fuck does that mean, bro? I want tangible results. If I'm no. Feeding the homeless could mean, I'm feeding 55% of this is going into one exec's paycheck. 40% is going into
Why
another.
we have to look at it pessimistically?
No. How many stories have come out where exactly what I'm talking about? I donated $1 million to on a small scale. I donated some money to the school board. I donated some money to my alma mater. What do they do with it? Jack shit. They put some random fucking library in your name.
School that you went to is not the same as feeding for people that don't have.
No. Okay, we'll flip it into what is it, UNICEF or we'll feed the homeless. Bro, if I'm not seeing tangible results, if I'm not seeing this money directly going into people's hands, I'm not seeing food go into people's bellies from it, I am going to assume that it's not getting to the real place where you want it to go. And based off of literally the entirety of human existence, people are greedy, organizations are corrupt. I'm not putting any of my trust into these organizations. I'm putting the trust in my children that I raise. Let them, if they want to donate the money, they can feel free to do that. I am not feeling any type of obligation.
So, Ghost, you would never donate to a charitable organization during your lifetime. Not even at the end
if there was some type of verification, if there was concrete proof or some type of evidence that the money that I'm donating is actually going somewhere useful, that's one thing. But
yes, for the most part, okay. So if it's
possible, sure. If not, I'm not donating to one of these generic.
All right, I agree. I agree with not donating to just a generic, just UNICEF. Boom, you get this bill. But I think you are kind of blowing out of proportion in terms of how difficult it would be to find like a local shelter or something that you could donate to, and it's like pretty clear.
Dog, I will go to a homeless shelter and give $1,000 to some amount of people, bro. That's more of a, or give them a whole bunch of food if you don't want to give them the money directly.
That's
more reliable.
Budget, you might want to hold off on giving the homeless, but that's neither nor there.
Funny, but in this scenario, if I'm Quincy Jones or someone, whatever, I'm giving 90%, however much, to my family, to my kids, and then the rest is going to distant relatives. I'm giving all the rest, go give it to the relatives. Why do these random strangers that I don't know need to get this money? I don't care.
Okay.
I don't want to say that. All right. I don't want to say that. I care about them, but I would trust and believe that my offspring and my actual family is going to do more than these random, no name, no face. I'm just giving them a paycheck and then saying go to town. No, absolutely.
All right,
to be clear, because Ghost is posing it this way, I'm not advocating for just donating to a no name, no face or no face cause either. Like I would very much be particular about
who you donated to.
Organization I donate.
Oh my God!
I want to know. You said you're not donating to some random no name.
No, I don't have like I don't do it right now, so I don't have any in mind. But I'm just saying,
charities?
Sounds like they don't matter that much.
No, not right now.
You don't donate to any charities.
No, not right now.
You are uncharitable.
Yeah, by definition.
I mean,
But yeah, for example, like I know my sisters work with this gardening community program. That's something I know. Like I
Okay,
kind of
that's
know how it works.
sure.
That's something I
Sure.
could
You're donating
stuff
10
like
million
that.
to that gardening program?
Maybe.
Stop it. Why? Okay, I got another question.
first of all, actually,
Why are you donating this 10 million? This is all
that
hey,
that
so
that, that
it's
little,
quite-
even though I laugh out the park, that little garden community thing that they work, that this actually supports the community. It actually does like directly goes
Gives
to the
kids
community.
something to do.
Yeah.
Gives kids
Yeah, if you
knowledge
can
on
see
how
the
to
tangible
sustain
proof,
themselves.
sure. I'm
We've seen
all
it. We've
for it.
we've been there. We've seen the changeable.
Yes, okay, that's I just said I'm all for it. But you're telling me that instead of this 10 million, this is just arbitrary fake numbers,
we're
but
just leaning on this 10 million now.
why aren't you donating this to my family members? Why aren't you donating to and your friend's family and to these random nobodies that you don't know? You don't think that we could use this money instead of this gardening program?
You know, the crazy part.
Tell me I'm
what
wrong.
you just
Tell
said
me I'm
is the
wrong.
exact
Tell me
reason
I'm
why
wrong.
people are a bit more proactive in donating to charities. Because once you amass a little money and it might be your time to go almost, that's when people really start. Yeah, my uncle's sister's daughter's cat really has this emergency surgery they can use. That's why people
I'm
just
sorry.
let me donate to a charity, get it out my hands. No one asks me for anything.
That's okay. If you have that stance, you're weak, and that's a cowardly move, bro. That's a cowardice.
I'm not
Man
going through
up and say who
the.
we
I'm
give
not
it
going through the whole family tree and saying,
Why
okay, this
not?
person over.
Why not?
No.
Okay, this has to be the whole family tree, but in this scenario that I posed, you're giving it to people you know, people that you've been cool with for years.
I mean, yes, you're okay. You're saying people I know. Sure. There's extra now. It's not just the children, but I still do not think it would be 100% to relatives without some type of charitable. I do not think that's going to be the case, and that is because we have seen the benefit that again, just a gardening the community has had for the community. And just because they're not related to me doesn't mean I just don't have to care about them at all.
Saying don't care about them, but at the same time, bro, like in my mind, you're putting this garden. I mean, kind of facetious right now, but you're putting this gardening corporation over me. And we've been cool for how long? And you're giving it to these farmers? They don't
create
need
a whole
money.
fan fiction about 10 million.
Again, I'm kind of half joking, but at the same time, like I just kind of feel like we have so many examples of nepotism, people looking out for their own, and when I say we, I'm speaking like in general, we as a people have not been on the beneficial side to all this, and it just kind of becomes a circular thing where this organization is just getting more and more money, like these universities and stuff. And if there's a way to reverse that and to flip it,
I don't think
then
anybody
I'm
here
all
is
for
pro donate to your university, unless you went to a HBCU and you really cared about it. But
they scamming too. Don't give them too much.
So, one of the major counterpoints that come up to what you're talking about, it seems like one of your point of contention is of like if you donate to a charity, especially one that you don't necessarily have an investment in and you haven't really vetted it, you don't really know where the funds are going to, that the funds can be misused, which is understandable. But we understand your family, your literal children, anyone in your circle can easily misuse your money as well.
Well, if I know them well enough and I raised them, then I believe and I trust that they will manage it better.
Hey, man. I guess that's applicable for your direct
And all these branches of your family is the same thing.
Yeah, that might.
I mean, at some point, I'm not going through every branch. Like, there's going to be a cutoff. Like, I have 11. Well, shit, more than that. I think at least 15 aunts and uncles, and all the cousins associated with that. But I don't know. I'm exhausting the
just
family
like
tree.
you were just doing. Like,
I'm exhausting the family
every
tree
single
before I'm
cousin.
randoms.
and that's fine.
If I'm cool with him, I remember him. Sure,
But you,
put him in the will,
and that's fine. But you just understand that like the same concern that you have could easily happen. Not easily, could happen in your family, within your circle, within your.
It can, but I'd rather a family member misuse the money by living rich and buying yachts and all that than it going into the pockets of some exec. I'll take that if it means that these people that are already got it made are just getting more made. That's what I'm not.
Fair enough, and I don't know if it's even worth trying to counterpoint. While there's nothing wrong with having a general skepticism for where you're putting your money, we realize for a lot of charity organizations, they have a certain system in place to ensure that funds are allocated to like the means of which you literally can't be a charity organization and go through like the system that the government put you under unless you do your yearly audits and make sure the money that was inputted is outputted into where it was supposed to get allocated. Obviously, none of these things are a perfect system, but
who's telling you this?
I don't.
The organizations themselves? The government? We're trusting the government now? Cool.
I'm trusting the fact that yes, if there's going to be a system in place where there are charity organizations, they have to go by the book, and by the book that there is a pretty rigorous audit system of inputs and outputs. Obviously, we know for a fact these things aren't perfect, and we know for a fact these things can still get misused. But I just I didn't know this conversation would get to this point, but I would be remiss to say, again, why it's always recommended you do your due diligence and even have an invested level of interest in making sure your money is going where you desire it to. I think this level of skepticism that people have about charities often lends to like, well, I'm just not going to donate anything at all ever, which I don't think we should. We shouldn't be the business of recommending or even trying or that messaging.
Yeah, I guess I'm not really fully anti-donate. I'm more anti-inheritance and leaving it to these random corporations instead of family members. That's what I'm really not for.
Which is fine. I don't think anyone. Well, I mean, we literally did it, but most people can't. I mean, for one, a lot of times when you're passed on, so like Ace was saying, who cares? But you can't really fight somebody. Again, I think that at the end of the day, as a literal species, and especially humans, we work our lives to survive, to live a life in which we are comfortable with, and once and if we have offspring, to give to them to make sure they're straight in the event, when the event that we're no longer here. So I mean, it's just like everyone's like goal in life to amass a little something so that when you're gone or when you're no longer needing it, you can give it on to your children. So it's definitely the thing that most people would do and should do. But I don't think there's anything wrong with the mentality of at a certain point, or even on a whatever level we are on individually, there's nothing wrong with giving. Out of my 90% of the money that I'm leaving by, I can leave a little 10%, 5%, or whatever you designate to a case or charitable case that it just for the sake of a better community or whatever the case may be. Now, whether you lean more to the spectrum of I'm not giving a dime to anybody unless they have my last name, or whether you're like Mark Lamont Hill and you're probably giving majority of it away to charity, you could say these are a bit extreme. But salute to the Joe Budden podcast, salute to Mark Lamont Hill, salute to Quincy Jones, rest in power, and salute to his kids. Oh man, imagine you're already probably good and well off because of the legacy of your father and grandfather, and now you're just completely you're just chilling. Nice. But yeah, salute to all parties involved. There's nothing else, we can move on to the next topic.